Kathy Coslett, and welcome to Cooking Classic. I heard you were thinking about what should I make for lunch or for dinner tonight? Guess what? We have the answer. Rob Cardone from the Pizza Mill in Kingston is joining us. He's going to make, what else do you make from the Pizza Mill, right?
Right.
Pizza and wings.
That's right.
Welcome. I'm glad you're with us.
Thank you. It's nice to be here.
Thanks. And you know, you probably know Rob. He's a local, correct? You were
That's
born
right.
and raised right here, weren't you?
Nanticoke, yes.
And then you were educated in this area as well?
Yes, I went to King's College, graduated from King's College, and then we opened our business, and then after that I went back to school, got a master's degree at Bloomsburg, and I started teaching here.
Yeah, so he stayed right here. He's an adjunct professor here. You have an education and a business degree,
Right.
correct? So to all the students that are with us today from the Wilkes-Barre Career Technology Center, listen up. This is really interesting. It's another part of the business, right, for everybody
Absolutely.
to know about.
Absolutely.
So tell us about the classes that you teach here and how it all fits into being a restaurant owner.
I teach a variety of classes here. Right now I'm teaching math for the hospitality industry, for the restaurants. It's the behind the scenes part of the courses behind the restaurant that a lot of people don't see is the math. It's about the costing, the profits, and those types of things that are extremely important. Having a great recipe is great, but also having the financial background of knowing what things should cost, what you should charge for retail price are absolutely important.
How about even ordering? Oh my goodness, you have to know how many customers you get on a particular night, correct? And
That's right.
How much you should have in your kitchen.
Exactly. We talk about forecasting. We do segments on that, trying to determine what we need to purchase in the future. I do a purchasing class where we do a lot of that as well. So it all gets tied into making the food and knowing how to order and all the financial responsibilities behind it.
So just quickly, before we go to the kitchen, you have to tell me, how'd you get from education and business to pizza? To opening up a pizza shop?
A long time ago, after I graduated King's College, my brother and I wanted to get into our own business. We wanted to get into pizza. That's what we wanted to do for a long time. So we found a place that was for sale, so we bought it. And from then on, it just, was day after day, just a lot of time and a lot of success.
It really grew quickly for you, didn't it?
It did.
Yeah.
We started off in a small building, which was relatively fairly small. We outgrew it, and we had to make a decision as to we needed to either buy a bigger place or we had to just quit because the place was just too small. So we did find a bigger place, and that was about 15 years ago, and it's been a total of 23 years, but 15 years in a new location, and from then on it's just been very wonderful. It's an awesome experience.
And when we come back, you are going to see, and you're going to be really happy that they didn't quit, that they expanded. We'll be back right after this.
Are you looking for a college that's right for you? Luzerne County Community College has more than 100 majors to choose from, convenient class times, and many online courses. Transfer your degree and continue your education at a four-year college. Work with modern equipment found in the professional world, all at the area's lowest tuition. Make it happen at Luzerne County Community College.
Hello there. If you're hungry, we've got it for you today on Cooking Classic. We are with Rob Cardone from the Pizza Mill. Hello there.
Hello.
Hi. And he is going to make a fresh basil and tomato, or a fresh tomato and basil pizza. Either way, everything's fresh, and we're making it here in the kitchen at Cooking Classic. So first up, I would guess that sauce. You have to have a good pizza sauce,
That's
right?
right. We're going to start with some Roma tomatoes. These are Italian or plum tomatoes, as they're
I
sometimes
love
referred to.
those tomatoes.
They're delicious.
Yeah, and I know that you do too, but tell everybody about this tomato and why you think this is the best one to go with.
I like this tomato a lot because the tomato itself is meatier. Okay, it's a little bit less seeds than a normal type of tomato, and the sweetness of it is really delicious. Okay, if you make a spaghetti sauce using this, not only is the color there, but the sweetness is there. You don't even have to add any sugar. So what I'm doing is I'm just chopping up probably about a cup worth of these which is about 3 or 4 tomatoes.
And that's for one pizza.
For one pizza, right.
Okay.
Now typically what I would do is...
Now I have to ask you this though, what size pizza? Because we all like our pizzas and some of them are really big. What size are we talking about?
Because of the oven, the limitations of this oven, we're going to do a 12-inch pizza.
Okay.
It's what we refer to as a small pizza, or it's a 12-inch 8-cut pizza is what that's going to be. And I'm just going to finish getting these up.
Alrighty. And now you do all of your sauces and everything fresh right there
Yes.
at the pizza mill?
Yes, we do.
Okay. How many people do you have working there helping you with this? I would think this is pretty labor intensive, all this chopping all the time.
Very labor intensive.
Yeah.
We'll do this a couple of times a week. Now this will last a day or so, but we'll do a whole big pot of this. Okay, not just for a little bit.
How
'cause
many
we do a
tomatoes
tremendous,
do you go through
we
there?
buy the tomatoes, by the whole big case, and then we'll just continue to use those as we as needed. I'm just cutting off the ends here.
Is this your most popular pizza, do you think?
One of the most popular specialty pizzas, yes.
Yeah.
We have a variety of those, but this is probably one of the most popular.
Okay. My other favorite thing is here. I see that garlic sitting in the bowl, so
And
that's up next,
That's
isn't
exactly
it?
next, that's right.
All right.
So what I'm going to do with that is I'm going to move some of this out of the way.
Okay.
And then I'm going to start with a couple of garlics. So I have the tomatoes in a bowl right now. What I'm going to do is I'm going to fry up a little bit of garlic in some olive oil.
Okay.
And then I'm going to add that mixture to the tomatoes.
Okay, so now you're just chopping this and you're going to leave it a little chunky. You're not worried about, people putting it through a press and
Right.
making it really
Not
fine
really worried
or whatever.
about it. I'm just chopping.
Just chop away, right?
Chop away mainly for the flavor,
Okay.
and that's that. So what we're going to do right now is we're going
Okay.
to slide on over here. We're going to turn our oven on. Add about 2 tablespoons of oil. All right.
And what did you use? Maybe 2 cloves, a clove and a half of garlic, and that really all depends on your taste too, doesn't it?
You know what? This whole pizza depends on taste,
Okay.
on your own personal taste. You want more garlic, by all means. If you like a little bit of garlic, by all means. That's what I love about cooking. Cooking in one hand is very creative. You can do a lot of things that you want to do for your own taste. Baking, on the other hand, is more scientific.
Yeah, it is.
And so
isn't it?
you have to do specifically by the recipe. But hey, when you're doing pizza, whatever you can come up with, you can make. So what I'm doing right now is I'm gonna just chop this basil up really quick. I'm gonna add some basil right now, but I'm gonna add more basil to the pizza itself.
Okay,
so this is just mainly
going
just
right
for
in
flavor.
with the tomatoes.
Right. That's just going in there to.
And really, you call that, now I learned something, a chiffonade, is that correct?
We're gonna do that later. We're gonna
Later on?
chiffonade cut with the
Okay,
basil.
Here we go.
Okay, and this is just
You
about
have to be
right.
really careful with this too, don't you?
Oh yeah,
Like,
we don't
take
want
a watch.
we don't want it to burn. All we're doing is trying to draw some of the flavor
Okay.
out into the oil, and then we're going to add it. Now, typically, what I would do is I would probably let this marinate overnight.
Okay.
All right, but we don't really have to, so we're not going to. The flavors are going to be very intense.
Isn't
the way it
basil
is.
the best too? It smells so good, doesn't
Absolutely,
it?
I love basil.
I know, I do too.
So all I'm going to do right now
Turn
is
that
just
off.
take this.
Bring it over.
I'm going to add this to the mix.
Okay. So you would let that sit overnight with the garlic and
Let that
everything in it, mix
just-
it up, put it in the
Just as
refrigerator?
it sits right there. Yep,
Okay.
absolutely, just let that sit like that.
Okay, well, I think you probably guessed that when we return, the next part is we're going to roll out that dough and make the pizza. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
Are you looking for a college that's right for you? Luzerne County Community College has more than 100 majors to choose from, convenient class times, and many online courses. Transfer your degree and continue your education at a 4-year college. Work with modern equipment found in the professional world, all at the area's lowest tuition. Make it happen at Luzerne County Community College.
Welcome back to Cooking Classic, we are talking pizza, so it doesn't matter if it's lunchtime, snack time, dinner time, it works, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
Okay, Rob Cardone from the Pizza Mill is about to roll out the dough and put this fresh tomato and basil pizza together for us.
Okay, so all I'm going to do right now is, it's just a regular dough recipe is all I have, and it's weighed out. This is a 12-ounce dough. All I'm going to do is just roll this out to about a little bit more than 12 inches. Now this dough, you can buy a dough like this the grocery store,
supermarket, right?
Supermarket. You can also buy a shell that already comes pre-made.
Okay.
Or what you could even do, don't tell him I said so.
Oh wait, he's going to be sorry.
You
Go ahead.
You might be able to contact or call your local, your favorite restaurant that makes pizza, and ask them just to buy a dough.
Right.
All right. So that way, it makes it easier. So I'm going to do is, I finished rolling. I'm going to stretch it by hand. I can feel how thick it is in some spots or how thin it is in some spots. So I'm going to stretch out as evenly as I can. Now, I'm also going to...
Okay, wait a minute. Now, when you're doing that, we always see these pictures of these people throwing it up in the air.
Yeah.
You really don't have to do that.
You don't have... No, it's fun to do that.
But did that really just develop off for show, really?
It's a form of stretching.
Stretching.
So when you throw the dough up, it helps stretch it out.
Okay.
Evenly. So if it's just spinning and being stretched out in the air, it kind of stretches evenly.
Okay.
Instead of by hand, because we can have a tendency to stretch it too much in one spot.
All right, and you don't want to keep rolling that.
Right.
Right.
You don't
What's
want
going to happen to it if you keep rolling it out rather than stretching it and giving it a little air?
Right. We like to roll it to a certain point, and then we're able to feel where
Okay.
where it needs to be. What I like to do is make sure the whole thing is flat. Sometimes it might be heavy or high in some
On
spots,
one side,
and
yeah.
we're just trying to make it even. Now the
Okay.
next thing I'm going to do. Well, first you notice I'm using a screen.
Screen, why is that?
For us, typically, it's a lot easier to be mobile with a pizza, to move it, to hold it.
Okay.
You can use the big wooden pizza peel. Okay.
Okay.
Now, when you use that, you would have to put that in the oven almost immediately because the dough itself will stick to the wooden peel.
Okay.
So you would have to put it in the oven immediately. Now, for us, the screen provides a lot of good uses, and one is that it's mobile. It can be used for a form to see
Okay.
how big a pizza needs to be. And typically around Christmas time or holidays, we will get large parties, 30, 40, 50 different pizzas. So it would be very difficult just to make them on the board and have to throw them in.
Right.
So the screen, we could make them all and just put them on a rack, and they're
that's
all ready to
great.
go in.
Okay.
Now, what I've done here on the screen is I rolled it and I stretched it out just a little bit larger than the screen itself. And I'm going to go around. I'm just
So
going
you're
to make
pinching
crust.
it like a regular pie crust, right?
Exactly. Just pinching it, and I'm forming it at the same time. If there's an area that's a little bit too big, I can pull it in a little bit. Now, do you have to make a crust on here? No, you don't have to make the crust on here. I do it because I like
It seems to make sense, right? It holds your toppings
Yeah.
really well. Okay.
The cheese we're using is already pre-grated. It's a blend of mozzarella and cheddar.
Okay.
And
Why cheddar in there?
the cheddar, there's a lot of butter fat in the cheddar.
Oh,
Okay. Now it would be difficult to eat a pizza with mozzarella on it because it would have a tendency to be a little bit chewier.
Okay.
So when you add the cheddar to it, there's a lot of butter fat in it, so that'll break it up and it'll give it not only a great flavor, but it'll also make it a little bit easier to eat as well.
All right, so cheese first.
I'm putting the cheese down first, because we're not really using a sauce. We're going to use the
Right,
tomatoes
right,
on
the
it.
fresh tomato.
So I'm using about 8 ounces of cheese total, which would be about 4 ounces grated of the cheddar and
Okay.
about 4 ounces of mozzarella. So I'm just going to put this down here.
So then if you were doing a regular pizza with a more liquid sauce, you would do the cheese last.
I would, yeah.
Yeah.
That's how we would do it. We would do the cheese last. We would put the sauce down first. Now, getting back to the math part of this, what I always tell my students is that this cheese right here is like gold, and so we can't waste this cheese right here. This cheese is extremely important because if you collect that over a whole year's time,
Right.
it's a large sum of money. So we want to just be
Good
careful.
point.
Now, that looks like it's about a good amount of cheese. Okay, so what we're going to do next now is we're going to add the tomatoes. Now, again, the tomatoes you can add. Your preference. You could put a lot on, you could put a little on, whatever you prefer. Now what I'm also going to do is I'm going to squeeze a little bit of this out. I'm not going to squeeze them so they're dry. Okay, I'm just going to squeeze the bulk of the moisture out it's also going to get rid of some of the seeds too.
Okay.
A lot of people don't like
So
seeds.
why do you take some of the moisture out? Just so it doesn't cook into the dough? And
we don't
make
like
it
exactly. We don't like a
soggy?
wet pizza. We like a very flavorful pizza, but we don't want it really all that wet. We don't want it squeezed out either, completely squeezed out. We just wanted you know, a good part of the moisture out of there. We want the flavor, the delicious flavor of the tomato,
Right.
the fresh garlic, and the basil. So
we're looking good here.
we're looking good right here. We're going to leave this basil. We're also going to add more to it. This is a couple of step process that I'm going to make this pizza. All right, and one trick that I like to do is kind of like when I'm putting Christmas lights on the tree, you kind of squint to see where more lights are needed. Kind of do the same thing here to see where some
Where
of the
you need more
where you need
tomato.
more tomatoes. Exactly. So that looks good.
It does.
And right now, then, all we'll do from this point is we'll just take that. The pizza's not done yet. We're going to bake this in the oven for about 4 minutes, 3, 4, 5 minutes.
Okay.
We're going to look at it, and then we're going to add more basil and more cheese to it.
Okay.
All right. So we'll take it now.
All right,
and-
now there's a pizza stone in here. When you put that in, why don't you tell us a little bit about
Sure.
that?
Sure. The pizza stone is a stone you can get at a department store, and the reason why you use a stone is that it holds all the heat. Okay. The brick itself will absorb the heat from the oven, and that'll help bake the pizza from the bottom. It'll help brown it, so to speak.
So does that mean too, if that's absorbing the heat, that if you're at home and you're doing this, and you have that brick or stone in there, that it's one pizza at a time in the oven?
And there's one piece at a time.
Yeah.
Yes. When you're doing that, you want to make sure that after you make one pizza, if you're doing another one, give it a little more, the stone a little bit more time. It has to recoup
Okay.
the heat, because it will absorb the heat in that circle that it's in.
All right, thank you. And these are tricks that we all need to make better pizzas at home. When we come back, we're going to get that pizza out of the oven. We're going to make some chicken wings, so don't go away.
Make it happen at Luzerne County Community College.
This is Cooking Classic. I'm Kathy Coslett, and this is Rob Cardone. We have started off with our fresh tomato and basil pizza. We have wings going, and now you have a few things that you want to do to this, right, before
Yes.
you put it back in the oven?
Yes, we took the pizza out and we noticed, we're looking at three things. We're looking at to make sure that the top is starting to get done and brown, the sides are getting done and brown, and we looked at the bottom, and the bottom is getting brown. So all three areas are getting brown at the same time, so we're really good with that. What I want to do now is add more of the basil to it, and then some cheese we'll talk about. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick off a couple of the big leaves that I
bigger
see
leaves.
here, and what we're going to do is I'm going to put these cut this in a certain way. Okay, it's called a chiffonade
Chiffonade.
cut. Okay, it's from the French term chiffon, which means a nice, like a fabric, a nice stringy fabric.
Okay.
So what we're going to do is we're going to take this like this, then we're going to roll it really tight.
Oh,
Okay,
so that's how they
gonna
do
roll it
that,
tight.
eh?
and then we're just going to take our knife, and then we're just going to chop it really thin. Making sure that your fingers are out of the way. So then, when we're done with that, we have a nice stringy amount. However, that's the way you do that. However, in our restaurant, it's so busy. We're doing 5 things at one time. Pieces need to be out of the oven 10 minutes ago. So we do more of just what I refer to as just a simple lop and chop. Get it off, get it chopped, get it in the oven as fast as you can.
So it
okay?
doesn't matter. Perfection's not key here.
So we're going to cut this up a little bit more. Now, simply, we're just going to add more of the
Sprinkle that
basil.
on.
Again, this is to taste. I love basil.
Yeah, I do
The
too.
sweet flavor, the sweet taste of the basil is absolutely delicious. And again, we'll do our little squint, make sure we got it pretty well covered. And
Right.
that looks pretty good. Okay, for the basil is all we're going to do with that. Now, the last thing I'm going to do, I'm going to add a grated cheese to this. Okay, now this cheese is a Pecorino Romano cheese.
Oh, that's one of my favorites.
This is absolutely delicious. Now, this cheese itself is imported from Italy. This cheese is aged 2 years
Oh
in
my
Italy
gosh.
before it's even sent here.
Okay.
So it's going to be an excellent enhancement to the pizza.
I was going to say, really blend well with the
Yes.
mozzarella and the cheddar. And here we go.
This is all magic.
Now this is the pizza we're used to seeing.
Okay, now you might need a little more.
Yeah, I'd put some over there. I love cheese and a little more, a little
with
more, a
this-
little more.
With this cheese, I always say you can't put too much on. Okay, so we're gonna let it go like that. We'll pop that back in
Then
the
it
oven.
goes back in the oven,
Put it
correct?
back in the oven for.
About how long?
Well, we'll have to check it. It's not going to take long. 3 or 4
Okay.
minutes is all it's really going to need.
All right, I'll take that if you
Okay.
want. Put that over here. Now you're about to make some wing sauce.
I'm going to
for
start
us,
with some
right?
wing sauce, yes. Now, the wing sauce is we're going to start with a little bit of garlic that I have here.
Okay. Now, while these are in the fryer, you just leave them alone. They take about 10 or 12 minutes.
We should look at them, and I'll tell you why. We'll pick them up, and we want to check them. They are getting good and
Oh, they
brown,
are. Look at
What
that.
we want to do is we want to make sure that we separate them.
Okay.
We don't want them to cook totally like this, because you see the white spot right here? That is that's the skin, and we want to make sure they're all pulled apart,
Okay.
and they all cook evenly, because we don't want to have a soft spot when we're eating it.
All right,
Okay,
and
so they're
there's nothing on these wings, correct? They're
Right.
not dusted in
Right.
any kind of flour or
nothing
seasonings
at
or
all.
anything.
Right now, they're just straight from the container, refrigerator, right to the pot. So,
All right,
what I'm going
back
to
to
start
that
with
sauce.
is a little garlic, not a lot.
Okay.
The amount of wing sauce we're making right now is for 1 serving, so we don't really need a whole lot. And again, the garlic in this case is really optional. I love garlic too, so I'm just going
Me too.
to cut that up. We're going to take some of our butter, and we're going to start melting this in the pot. Now, can you use margarine? Sure, you can use margarine. You can use margarine or butter. Okay.
Does it make any difference, or do you think the butter tastes better? Does
think
it
the-
consistency is better?
I like the butter. It's the creamy
Yeah.
of the butter.
I
I
do
like the
too.
flavor of that. So now, the important thing about making this wing sauce is that we're not really cooking it. We're just melting and incorporating. Is all we're
Okay.
doing. Okay. So we'll get some of our items over there near us where we need it.
All right.
Next, what we're going to do is we're going to add. We'll let that melt just a little bit more.
Okay.
In the meantime, we can add the little bit of brown sugar, which is about 2 tablespoons of
Should I
brown
check
sugar.
the pizza?
Yeah, we should probably check the pizza, give that a check. And we can see we're doing good with
that
that.
looks
I would say about
delicious.
another 2 or 3 minutes, we can give it another check
Yeah,
again.
that looks
and we'll
great.
Get that ready to come out.
Now, people have to remember too, you might want to give that a little spin in your oven sometimes, hot spots, cold spots.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The thing with the oven is, oftentimes you might think that the oven is all one temperature. And maybe in the small oven it might be, but the larger ovens, you'll find that there are hot spots and cold spots. And
Okay.
the more you use it, the more areas become colder or hotter. So we do want to spin it around, because the front of the oven might be a little bit cooler than the back of the oven, because we're opening the door.
Right.
So we'll
right.
just stir this up a little bit.
Okay,
Again,
so far we have butter, garlic,
and
Brown
we're going to use
sugar?
brown sugar's
Brown
in here.
sugar.
That's a tablespoon of brown sugar. Then I'm going to add in ketchup. A quarter cup of ketchup is good. I like to add a little more. The ketchup is going to add the tang to it.
Okay.
Okay. The brown sugar is going to add the sweetness to it. Now we don't want to cook this. We don't want the sugar to burn. We don't want anything to burn, of course. So now I'm just going to add about maybe a little
How
more
much
than a
is-
quarter cup.
a quarter
A
cup.
quarter cup, a little more, depending
Okay.
on taste. All right, keep that going. Now, again, we don't really need to keep the heat on too much now. Just keep that incorporated. We're going to add about a teaspoon of Worcestershire sauce, maybe a little bit more. And then, as long as that's done,
I can get it. What do you need?
the red hot sauce. in
The red
measuring
hot
container.
sauce.
Yep.
That helps, doesn't it, when we're talking about hot wings?
Okay, we'll just
Okay.
pour that in.
Do you want me to pour
Sure,
it in?
absolutely.
The whole thing?
Yep, the whole thing.
Alrighty, here we go.
Now I'm turning the stove off. We don't really need it
Okay.
heated anymore. All we're going to do is just, that's done. The sauce is, for all intents and purposes, that's done. Make sure it's all incorporated very nicely. And that's it. I think now we have the wing sauce done. The wings will still take another couple minutes.
Sure.
But I think our pizza's probably done.
Okay, let's take a look
So
at that.
let's,
And
take a look.
your
okay, I think that it's done. We can take
Oh,
this
that
out.
looks
I think I'm
great.
just going to leave the screen in there for now.
Okay.
We'll take this out and check the bottom of it.
this looks really good. we'll cut the pizza, get the wings ready, and lunch, dinner, snack on its way. We'll be back in just a moment. That looks so good and it smells delicious. Thanks for staying with us. We are coming to the end of our pizza and wing segment. Normally, endings are kind of sad, but in this case, it's really a good thing because that means we get to eat. So, first things first, wings out of the oil.
I think the wings are done right now, so we'll pick them up. We'll give them a second just to drain. We'll check our sauce.
Okay.
Our sauce is just about
Okay,
ready.
so we have butter, garlic, brown sugar, ketchup, and hot sauce.
And a little bit of Worcestershire
sauce.
is in there
Okay.
too. Now, one thing you might want to do is when you're doing the wing sauce is that if it's really hot, you might want it to get a little bit cool. You don't want to maybe put it in the refrigerator, but maybe room temperature to let
Okay.
the margarine or the butter, whatever is butter or margarine, kind of like firm up a little bit.
Okay.
Because if it's really warm, it'll be really watery, and it'll just kind of like run off of the
right.
of the wing. So if it gets a little bit firmer, okay, it'll have a tendency to stick a little bit more.
Okay.
So all I'm going to do right now is I'm going to take about half of these out of here. I'm going to do them two different ways.
And you have about a dozen in there, don't you?
There's about a dozen,
Yeah.
So we're going to take some of those out. We're going to just add some sauce to it. Not a whole lot, just enough to coat it. Okay, and then I'm going to just mix them up a little bit.
Okay.
All right, make sure that they're all coated, and then we're going to just put them on a plate. And
They smell delicious. They look delicious.
And then the last one, what I'm going to do with these, I'll add maybe just a little bit more sauce,
Okay.
but I'm going to make them a little bit more rich. I'm going to add
Now, this
some.
is a Pizza Mill specialty,
It is.
isn't it?
So we're going to
Yeah.
add some blue cheese right to the sauce.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, it's going to give it a richer, creamier, thicker texture and flavor. It feels like blue cheese. Okay, so we're going to stir this up a little bit, incorporate that totally, so it looks like it's
Oh, look at
all
the
done?
difference, yeah.
okay. And then we're just going to add the wings to that.
So how many different sauces do you have for wings there at the Pizza Mill?
We have about 10 different sauces. Okay, and we can keep going with them. We can keep making a lot more. We have a tendency just to stick with that, or we'll come up with a special. Okay, so these are done. We'll add these to the plate. And we might
Oh
want
my
to pour
goodness.
some of the sauce over this, just to add a
Oh
little
my,
more.
my.
And that would be all. And then we can add the blue cheese.
And then you
aside.
have your blue cheese and celery and our pizza, our fresh tomato and basil pizza, ready
we're
to go.
all done.
Thank you very much for joining us, for sharing these special Pizza Mill recipes with us.
Well, thank you very much.
You're welcome. And thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time on Cooking Classic.